away from.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Gods of Prayer again. Today, we will be talking about 5 signs that tell the state of the church when it comes to prayer. Again, 5 signs or 5 ways to know that a church is involved in prayer or is not involved in prayer. You go to church every day, you visit one church or the other every day, and if you know these 5 points, you are able to tell the level of prayer that the church is involved in. The first one I like to look at, talk about, is what I call the culture of prayer. When you go to a church or when you meet a friend or meet a brother, you are able to tell how deep that person goes in prayer by how much you can sense the culture of prayer in that person's life. You walk into a church or you find out from them, what day is it? What day is prayer day in church? I ask you, you go to church. What day is prayer day in your church? What day is it that everybody comes together and, maybe somebody leads or nobody leads? All we do is just everybody walk into church, go on their knees and pray for 2-3 hours. What day is prayer day in church? What hour is it? Is it Friday night? Is it Saturday night? Is it never? Is it Sunday morning, 5 minutes before church starts or whatever? In your friend's life, your brother's life, your sister's life, your pastor's life, your spouse's life, what day is prayer day? What hour is prayer day? What time do they pray? What day do they pray? When you don't find that, you don't find a culture of prayer in somebody's life or in a church's life, you can tell that prayer is gone away from that church. In church, how much prayer do we know of the pastor? You know your pastor. How much do you know about his prayer life? There's no way a man can be a man of prayer and you can't smell it, you can't see it from him. We hear about what he did in his prayer life. We hear about how he's fighting about issues in his prayer life. You hear about a lot of things about his prayer life. The prayer life exudes, it smells every time. It's like somebody, who you walk into a place that didn't smell good. When you come out, everybody smells it off you because it sticks to your body. That's how prayer is. People who pray carry an atmosphere of prayer, and everything about their life emanates from that atmosphere of prayer. When they talk about the Bible, they talk about it, how God explained it to them in prayer. When they talk about what God said to them, they will say things like, I was praying the other day and God said this to me. You hear about prayer. That's one way you know somebody who prays. He talks about his prayer time. And that's not to say that there are people who don't pray but love to talk and say they pray. But people who pray cannot help but show it in the things they say. In church, how do people relate to prayer? How do when somebody who is leading brings up a prayer point or says, let's rise up and pray for a minute, just look around, you can tell how the church is about prayer by the way they relate to that issue of prayer. Let's pray, and people just sit down, people are looking, people continue what they're doing. When somebody walks into the realm of prayer, when you tell him about prayer, he reacts properly. David said something in the book of Psalms, I was glad when they said, let us go to the house of the Lord. People who love God react in a way when you talk about God. People who love prayer react in certain ways when you talk about prayer. As a person, what time is your prayer life? That's one question to ask yourself. You can't have a successful closet if you don't have a particular time that you spend with God. I once in a while let that go. If you're too busy, you work night shifts or that kind of a thing, and so morning prayer doesn't look very good. But there has to be a fixed time that you can be accountable to yourself and to God that this is when I pray. And then you hear about that in the church. People talk about their time of prayer. They talk about that covenant time that they go and spend time with God in prayer. These are very simple, rudimentary things. But gradually we have allowed such things to erode, and then we don't see how it affects us. And gradually our prayer lives die out. But these are simple things that help you build your prayer life. Because in the long run, what I'm going to be telling you is that if you want to grow your prayer life, you've got to start looking for people who have a culture of prayer. You can't hang around people who don't have culture of prayer and you expect to learn how to pray. No, you imbibe their culture very fast. The other last thing I want to talk about is, how does prayer dictate your life and your lifestyle? People who love to pray respect their prayer lives. And people who respect their prayer lives live every other day and every minute of their life conscious of the time that they're going to pray. Your prayer life is not a switch on the wall that you can turn off and turn on when you want it. You want to enjoy prayer? You've got to respect the fact that it takes time to walk into the presence of God. It takes time to feel the presence of God. It takes time to let the flesh die as you pray. It takes time to connect with the presence of God. And if all of those take time, you begin to realize James chapter 4 from verse 1, from whence come your wars? Come they not from your lusting that warred in your member. You war and lust because, blah, blah, and all of that. When you realize that your lifestyle affects your prayer life, then you either let your lifestyle kill your prayer life or you let your prayer life dictate your lifestyle. People who have a culture of prayer allow prayer to dictate their lifestyle, allow prayer to dictate what they eat, allow prayer to dictate what they watch, allow prayer to dictate who they talk with, allow prayer to dictate how much they talk, allow prayer to dictate what the program of the day is. If prayer does not dictate your lifestyle, then your lifestyle will begin to kill your prayer life. You want to have a good prayer life, then you better start letting your prayer life. I used to, in those days, when I feel that my spirit has offended God, I would trace my steps back. I would say, Lord, what have I done? What have I done? What did I do? What did I do wrong? If you can keep the atmosphere you felt while you were praying with God, if you can keep that atmosphere every second of your life, you're going to be a very righteous man. You've got to inculcate in yourself a culture